that truck would pull out, we could pull right in. This truck is fucking everything up. What about if I just back right? Cafe Liberty was a cafe that my father opened up in probably the very, very early 70s, maybe 70, 71. He originally opened it up at first with Tony Lee and Jojo Carrazza. When they left East New York, they had a bar in City Line called Bulldogs at first, and they had a club on Eastern Parkway and Atlantic Avenue. And when they decided to move out of Brooklyn and officially make Ozone Park the headquarters, they rented, they opened up a cafe which was named Cafe Liberty because it was on Liberty Avenue. And then Jojo Carrazzo eventually moved out and opened up a club on 77th and 101st Avenue, which became a famous mob hangout across the street from Aldo's Pizzeria. And then my father took sole possession of Cafe Liberty with Tony Lee. And later on, when my father went to prison and Tony Lee passed away, Cafe Liberty was taken over by Skinny Don Pizzonia, who was a captain in the Gambino family. So it's been a really big mob hangout for many, many, many years until they closed. And now, I don't know, now it's just a place of business. It was always across the street from this Jewish cemetery. And this is funny because that place over there, that white building over there, used to be a bar called Connie's. Right there, that white building right there was a bar. Now it's an apartment, and we used to go in there on Saturdays. My father used to go there on Saturdays and drink, and we actually used to eat lunch in there. During the deer season, people used to bring venison. People used to bring venison meat to us, and we used to cook it in there. So that's Cafe Liberty, which was Fat Andy and Tony Lee's hangout for many, many, many years. A lot of things transpired in that place, good things and bad things. Acts of violence took place in there, a lot of discussions of crimes. That's actually the place, the building that after the famous robbery at Lufthansa, the thieves from Goodfellas, Jimmy Burke and Vinny Asara and Tommy DeSimone, and everybody actually came here to Cafe Liberty and met with my father and partied and celebrated the robbery till like the wee hours of the morning. And then later on, my father actually fenced all the jewelry from Lufthansa with his partner Tony Lee. That's also the place that unfortunately we murdered my brother-in-law Frankie in. In the back room was where the murder took place. I actually had my bachelor party in that club in 1977 when I got married. I don't want to tell you what happened then, but you know, I'll leave it to your imagination. And so a lot of things transpired in there throughout the years. I spent a lot of days there, good days and bad days. And across the street was a gas station. And when Jimmy Carter was the president, I'll go back in time, when Jimmy Carter was the president and there was a gas shortage and nobody could get gas, actually my father and Skinny Dom went across the street and they had a conversation with the owner. After Skinny Dom smacked the owner in the face, they had a conversation with him, and he would come and meet us there at midnight and put gas in all our cars. So, you know, they made him an offer we couldn't refuse, the poor guy. And so we had gas and all our friends had gas, but that's how the mob operates, you know. So that's...
While you were talking, there was a big rumbling. What was that?
So we're actually underneath the train now. The A train runs above us. The famous A train runs to Rockaway and Lefferts Boulevard, and then opposite way it goes through Brooklyn, through Bed-Stuy into Manhattan. The famous A train, right underneath the train L. There's a stop right above us. The 88th Street stop is above us because this is 86th Street, and the 2 blocks up is 88th Street, and that's the stop that you get off, 88th Street. So this is the beginning of our Ozone Park tour. It was all mobbed up. I mean, there was an auto body shop around the corner that a guy around Genie Gotti owned. This guy Anthony owned it, where wise guys hung out. Cafe Liberty was owned. There was a print shop across the street. There was Connie's Bar across the street over there. So back then, this neighborhood is really, really mobbed up. And then when Tony Lee actually got in trouble, and he couldn't, it was funny because he couldn't stay, and after he got arrested for with the Teamsters in Kennedy Airport with Frank DeWap, with the Lucchese family. They had a bug at Frank DeWap's house. And Tony got indicted on a union case. He couldn't, one of his bail restrictions was he wasn't allowed to go into Cafe Liberty. So we went over here to this building right here, and we opened up another club right here next to where the bakery used to be. Right here with this, right where that South Richmond Hill recovery place is. We opened up a social club there. And this was a bakery. And this, yeah, that was all here. And across the street here was a famous bar called Tootie's Bar. There was another hangout right here where that, whatever that word is there, that Indian word, that was Tootie's Bar. That was a famous bar, famous. He had license plates from all over the United States, and in the basement he had an after-hour club that we used to go to, Tootie's Bar. That was another big hangout back in the day. So the neighborhood was all mobbed up, even now, even to this day. So this is another, so this is it. This is the neighborhood. I'm going to take you now to the gold store, to the famous gold store, that where the Lufthansa jewelry was actually fenced out of. We're going to come up to it now. This was a parking lot right here where Sawaya was supposed to be murdered. Where this building is right now, that was a parking lot. This medical plaza was actually a bar called Mike's Bar that Tony Lee hung out in. It was a big mob hangout right here. And this is where, this building right here, where the wrought iron gate is, right here. That was actually the gold and silver exchange. And that's actually where my father and Tony Lee fenced the jewelry out of, the Lufthansa jewelry. So this is a famous spot. This was the gold and silver exchange back in the 70s, early 80s. And there was a bar here, Mike's Bar, that we hung out in. And this was our spot. We would come here, and then we're going to head now to the Bergen Hut Fish Club, which is, you know, that was the location. But this neighborhood had all social clubs in it. But we were basically up here. Then on 101st Avenue, there was Vinny Asara had a club, and then there was another club on 101st Avenue that Cyril Perron had. He was a captain with the Genovese family. And up the block over here, the Lucchese family had a place around the corner. So it was all, the whole neighborhood was mobbed up. I mean, so now we're going to head to the Bergen Hut Fish Club, which is where John Gotti hung out. But it wasn't originally opened by John Gotti. A lot of people don't realize that Charlie Wagons was the original owner of the Bergen Hut Fish Club. He was the wise guy in Brooklyn. Oh, I'm gonna make a turn. I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna deviate to where the Overs were killed, the Bonnie and Clyde couple. I'm gonna go there, and then we'll go to the Bergen Hut Fish Club. So this is another famous mob murder. This is Rockaway Boulevard. We're headed towards Nativity Church. It was a snowy Christmas Eve day, and the Overs were a couple of heroin addicts that were robbing mob social clubs, and that was a no-no. They actually robbed Skinny Dom's social club and a couple of other wise guys social clubs. They robbed Vinny Asara in his driveway. They robbed Skinny Dom, Cafe Liberty twice, and then the mob put a contract out on them, and then Christmas Eve they got word. And right up at the next traffic light, right in front of Nativity Church, where we're going to pass now, where I actually made my confirmation back in the 60s. And Joe Torre, the famous manager of the Yankees' sister, was the mother, Monsignor here, the nun. For years, Joe Torre used to come here. So this is the church right here. This is Nativity Church. And this is actually where they were gunned down right here by Skinny Dom and Ronnie One Arm were the shooters. There was crash cars all over the place. Johnny Bino was in a crash car. A couple of people that had crash cars all around here, and they were gunned down at the light and actually rolled into the street and stopped. And they were both murdered, husband and wife, the Uvers. So that's it. Now we'll just go down to 101st Avenue. The whole neighborhood's different now, man. Look, the school there, this wasn't here. This was St. Stanislav's. Now, I don't know what it is now. It makes 101st Avenue even look different. I don't even recognize 101st Avenue.